So if you saw one of my recent videos, I did all my finished pages in my MysticArtMirrors books. Now this one was definitely one of the ones that I need to work on. I don't know why I haven't, because now this morning when I flipped through this book, and it's the Galaxy Girls and Zodiac Signs, there's quite a few pages that I want to do, but I've picked this one out purely because I'm going to do another galaxy background. Now my issue with this book, because it's not been used all that much, is I've not brought the spine all that well, so you can see there's a bit of a bump. So to counteract that, I'm just going to pop something on the other side here just to lift it up to flatten the page. Can you see, if I lift it up it flattens out, whereas if I let it go like that, you get this curve. Whoops a daisy, you get this curve. So I will probably put my pencil sharpener there for now, because I'm not going to use that at the moment, and then once that's dry it should be okay. Should. So my usual tape, the blue tape, and I just use the heat gun to remove this. That's what I find easiest. So I need to move that for now actually. I'm in the mood for MysticArtMirrors because her new book comes out very soon, and I'm not sure whether I want to get it as a PDF and print it on my own paper or buy the physical book. Now I do believe the book is available in A4 and A5, and I'm so tempted by that A5 because I've not got many big books like that, so I really am tempted. So let's pop that down there, and I'll leave that for now because we need to wet our covers. I'm using my new Rembrandt watercolour paint, and I've pulled out as well my Renaissance Colours, the Christmas Countdown palette, but I won't use this yet. This will probably be in the second or third layer of watercolours, but I thought there's some beautiful colours here for backgrounds. Again, I've done a video dedicated just to this palette, opening each of them up and swatching them for you. I'll leave that somewhere, either up here as a little pop out, or I'll leave it in the description. So I think I'm going to go for my usual purples, blues and pinks, but maybe make the blues more navy blue. So I'm just looking at my swatch. It's not a little swatch card, it's an A4 size swatch card. And then let's just start activating some of these colours. So we want some of the pinks, and then just go on to the blues, the darker blues. That's more of a teal shade. So where are my purples? My purples are there, so that should do. And let's just do one red just in case I decide to use that. The brushes that I'll be using is the Princeton Neptune brushes. I've got a couple of different ones here, or I might use my big mop brush. To dampen the page first, and then possibly I'll keep them 3 out just in case I want to use them. I've got my usual plastic sheets behind to protect the paper on the opposite side, so making sure that I'm getting all this right before we start. You can go ahead and use your masking fluid now if you want, all around the edges. Sometimes I'm in the mood to do that and other times I'm not. It literally depends on my mood. I've got clean water in a very dirty container. It's well loved this now. I use it every single day. So let's get our brushes in. Let's dampen them. I love this container because you can just do that and then leave the brushes there until you want to use them, or leave the brushes there to dry. I do love it. Take that one out and put that one there. I'll keep the mop brush in for now. So yeah, that's the colour scheme that I'm going for. And again, you gotta be patient. I'm the worst one for being patient when it comes to colouring and painting, but you've got to be a bit more patient when it comes to watercolour. So my tea towel, and I'll work from this portion at the top. Am I all in screen? I'll have to probably move it down ever so slightly so you can see a little bit better. So how am I going to do this? There we go. So go on, down, 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 down. And then I'll be able to bring you in ever so slightly. Just make sure you can see the very top. So I'll work from this portion here, and then we'll work at the bottom once I've finished that. So you want your cloth ready. I'm not gonna take the paints out of the pan and then put them on the tray and then lift them up from there and put them on here. I'm going to directly pick the paint up from the pan and pop it straight on, so it'll be very, very, very pigmented. So with a clean brush, clean water, just go straight in. Don't be scared, don't be nervous. I might get a couple of bits of other colour, can you see, coming through because of the sheets that I'm using. I like to use them until they're literally falling apart, and then when they're at that stage I cut them up and use them for like little palettes for acrylic paint, and then when that's dry I chuck them away then. So they are well used, these plastic sheets. So I'm getting the paper here very, very wet. There's not puddles forming, but the paper is wet. And we'll start off with this bigger brush. I'm going to this pink shade and pop this everywhere. You can use the heat gun, but be warned, if you use the heat gun with these plastic sheets behind, they will melt. Some of mine have done that when I've completely forgot. So yeah, I'd just be mindful of that. But if you've got a nice day outside, you can pop it outside to let it dry a bit quicker. It's very, very cold here today, so I won't be doing that. So I'm just dotting these colours, going into purple now, wherever I see fit. And they are quite pigmented. I'd probably say they're a little bit like creamy consistency. They're not really watered down at this point. So I will pull that colour here and then we'll stop at the hand. Add some more of that purple there, and then some blue. Let's get this blue on. And carefully go around the hair. And I have gone over the hair there, but I'm planning on quite a dark purple, so not to worry. If you was wanting to do it a really like blonde or a white or a grey, you would have to be very, very careful about going over the hair. So more water onto this. Clean off my brush, back into the pink, and start scattering this around. Now it will dry a lot lighter than it looks here at the moment. So clean my brush, dab off the excess, and now I'm adding water just to merge these colours together. And then I've got the paper on the other side falling down, wanting to join in. So I'm going to take some of this purple from this side and add it to here, I think. A little bit more purple, just at the very edge. And I want a little bit more pink as well here. It's just a case of messing with it until you're happy, sort of thing. So we can move on to the bit below. So being careful, while actually I'll take a little bit, just pinch a little bit of that colour, pop it in here, just so I don't miss it. So I can move you up now, we can work on the bit underneath. I think that should be okay, that there. Let's move the sharpener back, I don't want this falling in, and I've got paint all on this side. So same thing, but where this is her head, I'm going to cut it off there. Not literally cutting her head off, but you know what I mean. Just so that's where the paint is going to stop. And then you've got some bits here that I'll have to go in later to add some more colour. So in with the pink first. And you might hear a snoring dog in the background, that's just usual on my channel. Well, it's become the normal anyway. And then clean my brush off, and then let's get some of that blue. Start pushing that round. So I've been a bit more careful around these areas. Some more blue, more blue, more blue. So you've just got to remember as well that this isn't watercolour paper, so it will behave differently than if you was to print these images off onto really nice watercolour paper. But nonetheless it still works just fine. So more purple. Let's add that to the bottom. Let's mix these colours together. Right, and so for the neck, what I'm going to do is add a bit of paint there like that, then go in with clean water and just dampen, and then let that bleed into it so there's not such of a harsh line. Easy peasy. But I want a little bit more purple, just so it matches the top. Now you could go ahead and use some salt here, but if you use salt, it's going to take longer to dry, a lot longer actually. And I've missed a bit here, so I'll go ahead and add this now. So I'm not going to add salt today because I want to use my iridescent paints. And I don't know how that reacts with salt, so we'll play it safe a little bit today, not use the salt. But patience now, you're going to have to just wait until that dries. Because I think if you use the heat gun now, it's going to cause even more divots in the paper. So I will leave that probably for about half an hour and then bring you back and see where we're up to. We might be at the stage there then where we can lift up the paper and ever so slightly use the heat gun, removing the plastic sheets. We shall see. It's funny how things can sidetrack you. So this has been left now for about 45 minutes. Because I ended up doing something else and then editing on the computer and I lost track of time. But this is more or less, I'm happy with it. It does need more drying time, but I could go over with another layer now. And I'm quite happy. I don't feel like I need to go in with more watercolour. I'm really happy with that. Now that just goes to show the quality of them watercolour paints, the Rembrandt ones. Because usually I'd have to do 2 to 3 layers, but I'm really happy with that. It does bleed through when you use a lot of pigment, you just see just there, but with it being single-sided it doesn't matter. But now we can add the fun stuff, the shiny stuff. So what do we want to use? Let's move these out of the way. I want to use that one at the top, I want to use that one. This one at the bottom, which is absolutely beautiful. The dark purple and the blue, and then that glittery one there as well. Went into the blue a bit there, but they're the colours. They do take a couple of minutes to activate these ones, but it's going to be the same sort of idea. I'm going to wet the paper a little bit more and then add the pigment because I don't want the really harsh line. But the paper is still damp, but it's not too bad. It's not too bad. I mean, once this is dry, this part, these paints are dry, I'll remove the plastic sheets and then use the heat gun if I wanted to go ahead and colour this straight away, but I don't think I'm going to have time, so I should be alright. Just leaving it on the side, just leaving it on my table for it to dry naturally. So these paints, honestly, they're just absolutely gorgeous. Really beautiful. Now I did speak to the seller of these paints, and this palette is out of stock now. Now I don't know if she's bringing it back or not, but the colours, most of them, if not all of them, will be open stock next year, which is good news. So we'll start off at the top again. Does anybody else just put the paintbrush in their mouth when they've nowhere else to put it? So clean water. I'm just going to put this random. There's no rhyme or reason where I'm putting this water, it's just where I fancy putting the water. Look how beautiful that is. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. So let me bring you in a little bit closer. And then some of the blue. Just like that. Back in that purple shade. It's honestly gorgeous, that one. Bloody beautiful. Paintbrush back in my mouth. And let's pop some more on this blue area. But let's go into the dark purple. Whoa, that is gorgeous. Gorgeous. What should we do now? Let's go with this purple shade. Just letting it bleed out and do its own thing. Wherever it wants to go is fine by me. So I think that's enough for the top. So let's move you. Actually, let's put one here. Let's put one there. So wet the area first with clean water. And then in with the beautiful paint. And some more of this one. Now we can move you up. That's as far as I can go without hitting the tripod, so let's bring you out ever so slightly. Why do I keep the paintbrush in my mouth? I don't know. I don't want to waste any of the paint that's on it, because it's just so beautiful. And the darker one. Let's move that around. Then back in with clean water. In with the purple. And I want a little bit of that blue as well, actually. And a bit over here. Purple. The really shiny one. It just adds a touch of something else to the page. Just a little something, but I'm quite happy with that. I don't want to go overboard because I have a tendency of doing that and just putting metallic and glitter absolutely everywhere, but that is not the point of this. Just wanted a little bit of something, just a little bit of something. So I will let that completely dry now. It'll probably be hours and hours later for me, but it'll just be a minute for you, just so you can see the actual final result, and then to see this page completely finished, because I will colour the rest of this image off camera. It'll be in November's finished pages. So that's nice and dry now. I can take away these. I will take the I've been having issues with this tape non-stop. Shall I risk it without the heat gun? So far so good. Some paper it's really good on, and others it's terrible. And I have put it on the back of my leg to take some of the tackiness. It just depends on the paper, I think. Anyway, that's her dry now. Absolutely love it. It's so easy to do. Really, really easy to do. Look at that shine. So I just wanted it bits here and there. I didn't want the whole thing, but I think that'll be super cool once it's done. I'm going to black out her eyes totally, I think, and then add my own bits and bobs and my own touches to it. But I hope that you enjoyed the video and you found it informative. You got a couple of ideas, and just showing you that don't be afraid of watercolour in your colouring books. It's fun, it's easy. Yeah, you might make a mess, but it's not the end of the world. Just have fun with it. So I'll see you in my next video. Bye.